Now, one thing all our people need is a good job. And I think everybody understands that in the Democratic Party, because our party has always been the party of economic growth. When I was a kid, John Kennedy was president of the United States, and he said, "A rising tide lifts all boats." A rising tide lifts all boats. He didn't say a rising tide lifts all yachts. He said all boats. And that's what we believe in. For folks who have a rowboat, we're with you. And if we're going to balance our budget, whether it's at the national level or at the state level, we know it has to be economic growth in the best traditions of the Democratic Party. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he was president before I was born, but he said the best social policy ever devised is a good job. And I want to personally thank John Cullerton, the president of the Illinois Senate, and Speaker Mike Madigan of the Illinois House for their leadership, because we came together. And after 10 long years, we finally passed in Illinois a job recovery bill, a $31 billion investment in the roads of Illinois, the bridges, the water systems. We want to build high-speed rail from Chicago to St. Louis, from Chicago to Des Moines, from Chicago to Milwaukee and Minneapolis, from Chicago to Detroit, from Chicago to Cleveland, from Chicago to Indianapolis and Cincinnati, you name it. We want to do what the President of the United States has asked us to do, have fast trains. And our capital bill that we passed, thanks to the leadership of the Democratic Party, we got that done because we know how to work together. And I signed that bill, and I'm very proud to have done so, and I want to personally thank all the members of organized labor who worked so hard to put together that coalition that got the job done. And we've got to make sure that if you're able-bodied and breathing in Illinois, you got a good job. That's our job, making sure we do it right. I want to thank Governor Chet Culver, who's here today, and you're going to hear him in a moment. But Chet Culver came to our gathering in Chicago, where I convened governors from the Midwest, governors from Iowa, governors from Michigan and Ohio and Wisconsin, and here in Illinois, we were with Senator Durbin, and our great mayor in Chicago, Mayor Daley, came and stayed for the whole session, where we talked about a Midwest network of fast trains, high-speed rail. We had a very, very good discussion. Our capital bill has financing that we hope to bring to Washington to get further federal financing to make things happen in our state. We're not running in place. We're not looking at the sky and saying, woe is me. That is not me, and that is not the people of Illinois. The people of Illinois are folks who know how to get the job done. They have energy, they have enthusiasm, and we have to have a government that matches their hard work and their commitment. Now, I want to say one more thing. I think it's a very important thing to say. You know, today is August 19th of 2009, rather fateful year. This is a year of reform in Illinois. As governor, I want to reform everything we can. And believe me, when I took office and took a look at all the things that were going wrong in Illinois, we've got plenty to repair and reform, and we're getting that job done. But the most important thing we can do as a group of citizens, good and true, we have almost 13 million people in Illinois, we've got to make sure we keep faith with those who are protecting our democracy. On July 19th of this year, a month ago, I was in Tallil, Iraq. I was in Baghdad, Iraq. I was visiting as Commander-in-Chief of our National Guard, our men and women in uniform, in 125-degree heat. And it's pretty darn hot for 1 or 2 days that I was there. But how about 12 months of men and women in forgotten, forsaken, foreboding places, standing on guard, protecting our democracy? I think that we owe them an eternal debt of gratitude. And I want to single out one person, because when I was in Iraq, I met a young man from Randolph County, and he's here today. I just met him a little while ago. And I met him, and I said, when you get back to Illinois, he said, I've never been to Wrigley Field. I understand that's a shrine. And I said, well, I'm a White Sox fan, but my heart is big enough for two teams. I know there's Cardinal fans here, too. But this young man never been to Wrigley Field. So I told him, when you get back to Illinois, you give me a call, and we'll go to the game. We'll find a way to get to Wrigley Field and see the Cubs play. Well, that's exactly what he did. He got back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Before he called his mother, he called me. And his name is Maynard Hudson from Randolph County. Why don't you stand up there, Maynard? I want to thank Maynard and all the men and women of our military, whatever branch of service. The Illinois National Guard, as you may know, 3,200 Guard members from our state, the biggest deployment since World War II, were deployed to Afghanistan. And I went from Iraq to Afghanistan. I was in Kabul. I was in forward operating bases in the mountains of Afghanistan, where we have lost many, many Illinois National Guard members. 18 of those men and women deployed are not coming home. And we've got to take good care of their families, and we will always honor their memory. At the governor's mansion last Sunday, we had our Gold Star families come together on Veterans Day at the fair, and then we had a reception at the mansion. We've got to remember those families. They've known their son, their daughter, from the day they were born, and they've lost them many times at very young age. But we know true heroes, all-American heroes, men and women who come forward when we need them the most to take on the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda. We want to make sure we take good care of our soldiers. And one thing we did at our State Fair parade, we had a very large parade. I was very proud to be participating in the parade last Thursday at the beginning of our State Fair. We're going to have a good day today at the State Fair. We're going to have a good day every day in Illinois. But we had 5 National Guard members who were just back from Afghanistan as Grand Marshals of the Illinois State Fair parade. And like I said, I live in the governor's mansion, so they stayed overnight at the governor's mansion with their families, and the next morning we had breakfast, and I think everybody here, the Democratic Party, knows who the folks are who really do the hard work. And when you see a service member, I hope everybody salutes and thanks them for their service. All of us learned a lesson after Vietnam. Our country didn't do right by those men and women who served in Vietnam. We want to make sure we always remember that those who are bearing the battle, who are on the front line, taking care of our democracy, we thank them for their service, and we're there for them. So in closing, I know what's going on here, but I think it's important to lay down what the fight is all about in Illinois. You have a governor who's a people person. I'm a man of the people. I believe the key for all of us in the Democratic Party and in the state of Illinois is to strengthen the people. The stronger the people are, the stronger our consumers, the stronger our taxpayers, the stronger our workers, the stronger Illinois will be. We have a great state. We're going to make it even greater. We're going to make the will of people law of the land. Thank you.